Hello everybody, my name is Adriana and today I will be walking us through a 20-ish minute flow before you go Hatha style asana practice, where although this is not a traditional 1 hour class where we would have a bit more time for our breathwork practices, our meditation, our shavasana, asanas, things of this sort, I just want to remind everybody that it is not how long you practice for. It is not the extremity of going all for it that counts. It is just giving your mind, your body, your breath, your heart a place to meet, a place to observe, and a place to connect with oneself. So although this is not a traditional 1 hour class, do not think that a little bit will not get you a long way. So how do you eat an elephant? One little bite at a time. It is a saying that I like to think has changed my life and has also made me view these shorter practices, these shorter times, spaces for your movement, for your being, for you to just tune in. It all adds up in the grand scheme of life. So to begin, I invite you to find a comfortable seated or kneeling asana somewhere near the middle of your mat. If you'd like, you can choose to come to sit up on a block, a roll of toilet paper, folded up wash rag, whatever you have at your convenience. And as you begin to settle into your seat, just noticing your easy, effortless breath, just as you came to your mat, just breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, or pursed lips, your choice. And as we give ourselves a moment to tune in, to settle, I would like you to begin to soften your gaze. In softening our drishti, our gaze, it can assist in softening our focus. If you'd like, you can use your next 2 rounds of breath to inhale, bring shoulders all the way up to your ears. Exhale, let them roll down your back body. Good. One more time, just like that. Spine is long, sit bones rooting down towards the earth. Inhale, notice which parts of you rise. Exhale, notice which parts of you settle. If you haven't already, you can begin to deepen and lengthen your breath. 4 more rounds and we'll begin our 7-action spinal warm-up. Good. From easy pose with your legs crossed or kneeling pose, bring your palms to the sides of your body. Option to bring 2 blocks underneath palms here to help bring the earth closer to you. Bringing in that intention, pushing the floor away from you. Inhale, lift both palms up overhead. If you'd like, you can interconnect your fingers here, flip your palms, and let your palms reach up towards the ceiling. Shoulders can come up towards your ears. Exhale, lower right palm, and inhale, reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, lean to the right any amount, rooting down through your left sit bone. Pressing down through the right palm. Good. Inhale, both palms come up overhead. Exhale, lower left palm. Inhale, reach up through the right fingertips. Exhale, lean to the left any amount. Really rooting down through your right sit bone. Checking in with your shoulder. Sometimes our shoulder likes to come forward in space, just lovingly keeping your right and your left in one plane. Inhale, both palms come up overhead. Exhale, cactus arms, leading with the elbows, elbows in line with shoulders. Look up or lean back any amount. Option to bring palms to base of skull. 1 more round of breath here. Inhale, both palms come up. Exhale, twist to the right any amount. Left palm comes over to right leg. Right hand off to the side somewhere, or perhaps near your lower back. Another option is to keep your right palm extended out long, palm in line with shoulder. Inhale, both palms come up overhead. Exhale, twist to the left any amount. Same thing here, right palm can come to left leg. Left hand off to the side, perhaps near lower back, or you can choose to keep your palm in one plane with the shoulder. Broadening through the collarbones here, using your exhale to twist any more amount. Good, inhale, bring both palms up overhead. Exhale, child's pose, lean forward as your hips root down towards your heels, any amount. Option here to remove any blocks, any props you have underneath you. Option to bring some space in between your knees, making this a wide-legged child's pose. Palms come out front towards the top of your ceiling, or the top of your mat. One more round of your breath here in our first Balasana, child's pose of the day. Inhale, press down through the palms, roll up through the spine, come into a neutral hands and knees asana. Option here, if you have sensitive wrists, is to come up onto balled fists instead. Another option is to roll up your mat, bring your palms up to the edges of the top of your mat as your fingers and finger pads press into the earth down below. Another option is to bring blocks underneath your elbows, underneath your forearms, elbows under shoulders. From here, from our neutral hands and knees, we'll take 3 rounds of cat-cow. Inhale, lift through the crown, lift through the heart, lower belly with control. Keep hips stacked above knees. Exhale, push the floor away from you, coming into our cat, rounding through our upper back, chin tucks to chest slightly. Keeping our hips above knees here. 2 more rounds following your own breath each side. On an inhale breath, come into neutral hands and knees asana. From here, micro bend in the elbows. As you exhale, slowly walk your hands forward, coming into our extended puppy pose. If you would like more support here, feel free to let your hips come a bit behind your knees. If you would like to feel the intensity of this asana more, bring your hips more above your knees. As you press down through the earth, allow for your heart to sink down towards your mat, allowing your shoulders to come up to your ears for this asana. Stay here for 2 more rounds of your breath. Good. From here, bend your elbows. Slowly walk your palms back underneath your shoulders. Spread your fingers as wide as they'd like to go. We'll be coming into downward facing dog from here. So from neutral hands and knees, tuck your toes on an inhale breath. Press the floor away from you. Lift up off your knees. Exhale, send your hips up and back in space. Feel free to pedal your feet. As you pedal your feet, option to turn your head as if you're shaking it side to side, making this a bit more isolated for the hamstrings. On every exhale, sending your hips more up and back in space. Feel free to bend your knees. This is still good yoga. Shoulders can come up towards your ears for a downward facing dog. Stay here for 2 more rounds of breath. On an inhale breath, come up onto the balls of your feet. Exhale, bend your knees, walk your feet forward, standing forward fold. From here, option to bring palms to the backs of your calves. You can also bring your palms together near your lower back in prayer. Perhaps let your fingers interconnect, let your fists come down towards the top of your mat. Another one here to really feel your foundation is to bring your peace sign fingers, wrap them around your big toe mounds, press down into your big toe mounds as you bring your chest towards your thighs any more amount. Knees can stay slightly bent here. Remembering the knees are a hinge joint, so we don't want to overextend them. That's why a slight micro bend can help protect the safety of our knees. One more round of breath here. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Palms can come to shins. They can come down towards your upper thighs. Or if you'd like, you can bring your fingertips to the floor here, bend the knees, and bring in that flat back for your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold one more time, allowing for your chest to come down towards your thighs, any amount. On your next inhale breath, slowly roll up through the spine into our extended mountain. Lower back, middle back, upper back. Good. As you inhale, palms come up overhead. Exhale, allow for your palms to meet in the middle and lean to the right any amount. Rooting down through your left foot. And as if there's a string pulling your palms towards the right side of the room. And as if there's a string on your left hip pulling it to the left side of the room. Rooting down through the four corners of the foot. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, lean to the left any amount. Again, as if there's a string pulling your right hip towards the right side of the room. As if there's a string pulling your palms towards the left side of the room. Stay here for one more breath, rooting down through all four corners of the feet. Inhale, come to rise. Exhale, cactus arms, leading with the elbows. Look up, lean back any amount. Option here to bring palms to where your jeans pocket might be if you were wearing pants. As you lift up through the crown, lift up through the heart, slight tuck of the chin. Stay here for 2 more rounds of breath. Inhale, lift both palms up overhead. Exhale, let your palms meet in prayer as you guide them down the midline of the body, stopping at heart center. Pausing here at your chest. While here, press your thumbs into your sternum with no more than 2 pounds of pressure and simply notice. Eyes closed or soft gaze, slight bend of the knees, rooting down through all 4 corners of the feet. Head above heart, heart above hips, hips above knees, knees above ankles. Playing a stacking game of sorts with oneself. Exhale, release palms to side body, wiggle asana if you wanna. And we'll come into a couple standing asanas on each side before we come down for our shavasana. So inhale, lift palms up overhead. Exhale, step your left toes back, coming into warrior 2. Left toes pointing to the top left corner of mat. Bringing your palms out to the sides of your shoulders. Soft gaze over your right middle finger. Warrior 2. Rooting down through the left heel. Keeping your right knee above your right ankle. Inhale, lift palms up overhead, warrior 1. Feel free to adjust your toes, turning your toes slightly more inward, keeping your right knee above right ankle, rooting down through your back foot. Feel free here to take variations. Your arms can come into cactus. Let your fists meet in the back. Inhale, both palms come up overhead. Exhale, step your left foot forward, bring palms to hips. Wiggle asana if you wanna. Inhale, lift both palms up overhead. Exhale, step your right foot back, right toes turn to the top right corner of the mat. Warrior 2. Soft gaze over your left middle finger, palms in line with the shoulders. Opening through the hip, rooting down through the 4 corners of your front foot. Staying here for 2 more rounds of breath. It might be helpful to find one steady focal point to look at, either on your wall, on your floor. Inhale, Lift palms up overhead. Feel free to turn your back foot a little bit more inward, adjusting your heel. Palms come up overhead. Front knee is above front ankle. Option to take variations here with the palms. Two more deep rounds of breath here in our warrior one. Good. On your next inhale, step your right foot forward, bring your palms to your hips. Wiggle asana if you wanna, once again. And come to lie on your back. Knees bent, feet about 6 to 8 inches away from your glutes. Palms at the sides of your body. We'll come up into a bridge before we enter our Shavasana. So while here, feel free to bring a block in between your knees. Palms at the sides of your hips. Feel free to walk them in any more amount. From here, you have an option to bend your elbows, palms facing each other, or keeping your palms flat on the mat, your choice. As you root down through the four corners of the foot, exhale, press down through the shoulders. You already might be in a version of bridge. If this is where your bridge feels like it needs to be today, stay here. Or on an inhale breath, allow for your hips to come up towards the ceiling any amount. As you are here, feel free to walk your palms in towards the sides of your body even more. Chin stays slightly tucked, making this more for the shoulders than for the neck. And as if there's a small string pulling your tailbone down towards your knees, I'd like you to envision that motion of letting your tail be a tail. Staying here for one more round of your breath. And as you exhale, slowly unroll from the top, upper back, middle back, lower back. Good. Exhale, bring your knees in towards your chest, Apanasana, giving yourself a loving hug. Feet are flexed. Feel free to rock side to side. If you find it more helpful, you can bring your palms to the backs of your thighs instead. And on an exhale breath, allow for your legs to extend out long towards the bottom of your mat. Palms come to your side body. Palms face up if available to you. We're preparing for our Shavasana, our final resting shape. So while here, begin to give your body permission to take up as much space as is necessary. Permission to do nothing other than to be, other than to breathe. Giving yourself the humanity, the compassion that if you do become distracted, that's okay. These things happen and these things take time. We'll be here in Shavasana for the next minute, and then I will gently resume to close out our practice. With your eyes still closed or soft gaze, allow for subtle movement to return to the body by wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Draw small circles with the wrists, small circles with the ankles. Pause, reverse your circles. Inhale, lift your right arm up and overhead. Exhale, bend your knees. Roll over to the right side using your arm as a pillow, giving yourself a moment to come to before we close out our practice. When you are ready, slowly push yourself up into a comfortable seated position, just as we began, giving ourselves a moment to close out our practice. Palms resting comfortably in your lap, or perhaps together at heart center, using these last few moments to thank yourself for showing up for your practice. I thank you so much for sharing your practice with me, and as always, so incredibly thankful for every single teacher who has come before us to share and practice this beautiful gift that is yoga, so that we may experience the sesha, the leftover sensation, the leftover residue that yoga leaves in one's body. When we give ourselves a moment to slow down, to be, to breathe, to take up space. And may we never, ever, ever count ourselves short, depending on how much or how little we can put in at one moment. May we always remember how powerful we are and how much the little things that we do add up in our lives. May we always live like the lotus at home in the muddy waters. Namaste. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you so much for moving with me. Flow before you go.